Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm joined by my big sister Clara Gallagher, and we're going to be sharing our thoughts and opinions about the classic real-time strategy game StarCraft Brood War. I'm really excited to hear her thoughts on this game, and I know she's a huge fan of strategy games.
Hey everyone, I'm Clara Gallagher, and I'm happy to be here with my sister Sarah. I've played StarCraft Brood War before, and I have to say, it's a really great game. The gameplay is so engaging, and the storyline is really interesting. I love how you can play as different factions, each with their own unique abilities and strengths.
One thing that I love about StarCraft Brood War is the gameplay mechanics. The game requires a lot of strategy and planning, and it's not just about building units and attacking your opponent. You have to think about resource management, unit composition, and timing, which makes the game really challenging and rewarding.
I agree, the gameplay mechanics are really complex and require a lot of skill, but what I think really sets StarCraft Brood War apart is the multiplayer aspect. The game has a really strong competitive scene, and it's great to see players competing against each other in tournaments and online matches.
The storyline and setting of StarCraft Brood War are also really interesting. The game takes place in a sci-fi universe, and the story is full of twists and turns. I love how the game has a rich lore and history, and the different factions have their own unique backstories and motivations.
I think the storyline is one of the strongest aspects of the game. It's really engaging and immersive, and it makes you feel like you're part of the universe. The characters are also well developed, and the voice acting is top-notch.
Compared to modern games, StarCraft Brood War still holds up really well. The gameplay is still engaging, and the mechanics are still complex and challenging. I think the game has aged really well, and it's still a great game to play today.
I agree. The game has stood the test of time really well. But I do think that some of the graphics and sound effects might seem a bit dated compared to modern games. Still, the gameplay and storyline are what really matter, and StarCraft Brood War delivers on both fronts.
Overall, I think StarCraft Brood War is a really great game that still holds up today. The gameplay mechanics are complex and challenging, the storyline is engaging, and the multiplayer aspect is really strong. I would definitely recommend this game to anyone who has an interest in strategy games or sci-fi.
I agree. StarCraft Brood War is a classic game that still holds up today. It's a great game for anyone who loves strategy and sci-fi, and it's definitely worth checking out.
One of the things that makes StarCraft Brood War so interesting is the three unique factions: Terrans, Protoss, and Zerg. Each faction has its own strengths and weaknesses, and they play differently. Let's take a closer look at each faction and their abilities.
The Terrans are a great faction to play as if you're new to the game. They're versatile and can adapt to different playstyles. They have a range of units, from the Marine to the Siege Tank, and they're great at taking on both air and ground units.
So the Terrans are known for their mobility and flexibility. They have units like the Vulture, which can lay down spider mines to control areas, and the Wraith, which is a fast and agile air unit. They're also great at repairing and healing their units, which makes them a durable faction.
One of the strengths of the Terrans is their ability to transition between different unit compositions quickly. They can go from a Marine-heavy army to a mech-heavy army in a short amount of time, which makes them hard to counter.
The Protoss are a faction that excels at psionic powers and advanced technology. They have units like the Zealot, which is a fast and agile ground unit, and the High Templar, which can deal massive damage with its psionic storms. They're also great at shielding their units, which makes them more durable.
The Protoss are known for their powerful units and their ability to deal massive damage. They also have a strong emphasis on shields, which makes their units more resistant to damage. However, they can be a bit slow to get started, and their units can be expensive to produce.
The Zerg are a faction that excels at swarming and overwhelming their opponents. They have units like the Zergling, which is a fast and agile ground unit, and the Scourge, which is a fast and deadly air unit. They're also great at adapting to different situations and can produce units quickly.
The Zerg are known for their ability to swarm and overwhelm their opponents. They can produce units quickly and cheaply, which makes them a great faction for players who like to play aggressively. However, their units can be fragile. and they can be vulnerable to counterattacks.
So, who is stronger? Well, it really depends on the playstyle and the situation. Each faction has its own strengths and weaknesses, and the key to winning is to understand these strengths and weaknesses and adapt your playstyle accordingly.
I think the Terrans are a great faction for new players, while the Protoss are better suited for players who like to play more strategically. The Zerg are great for players who like to play aggressively and swarm their opponents. Ultimately, the strongest faction is the one that you're most comfortable playing as.
Now let's compare StarCraft Brood War to StarCraft II Wings of Liberty. Both games are part of the StarCraft series, but they have some key differences. StarCraft II Wings of Liberty was released many years after Brood War, and it has a lot of new features and gameplay mechanics.
One of the biggest differences between the two games is the graphics and sound design. StarCraft II Wings of Liberty has much better graphics and sound effects compared to Brood War. The units and buildings look more detailed, and the sound effects are more realistic.
In terms of gameplay mechanics, both games are similar. You still have to collect resources, build units, and attack your opponent. However, StarCraft II Wings of Liberty has some new features like unit micromanagement and army composition, which adds more depth to the gameplay.
I think one of the things that sets StarCraft II Wings of Liberty apart from Brood War is the emphasis on unit micromanagement. In Brood War, you could just group up your units and attack, but in StarCraft II, you need to micromanage your units to get the most out of them.
Both games have a strong competitive scene, but the balance between the factions is different. In Brood War, the Terrans are often considered to be the most balanced faction, while in StarCraft II, the Protoss and Zerg are often considered to be more powerful.
I think the balance between the factions is one of the key things that sets StarCraft II apart from Brood War. The game has been updated and balanced over the years, which has made it more competitive and challenging for players.
Despite the differences between the two games, both StarCraft Brood War and StarCraft II Wings of Liberty have a strong community of players. Many players still play Brood War today, and it's a great game for those who want to experience the classic StarCraft gameplay.
I think one of the things that's great about the StarCraft community is the nostalgia factor. Many players have been playing the game for years, and it's a great way to connect with others who share similar interests.
Well, that's our take on StarCraft Brood War and StarCraft II Wings of Liberty. Both games are classics in their own right, and they offer a unique gaming experience. Whether you're a fan of the original, retro, or modern StarCraft fan, there's something for everyone in the StarCraft series.
I agree, both games are great in their own way. StarCraft Brood War is a classic game that still holds up today, while StarCraft II Wings of Liberty offers a more modern take on the series. If you're new to the series, I would recommend starting with Brood War to get a feel for the classic gameplay, and then moving on to StarCraft II for a more modern experience.
Thanks for watching our video on StarCraft Brood War and StarCraft II Wings of Liberty. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and analysis of the games. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming content, and we'll see you in the next video.
And don't forget to check out Curtis Chasky's channel for more StarCraft gameplay and content. His gameplay is always top-notch, and he's a great player to learn from.